Bonjour à tous, bienvenue sur le live Wolverton. Aujourd'hui, nous célébrons le Démo Day pour notre cohorte 18 qui vient de finir sa spécialisation, donc fin de deuxième année. On va avoir aujourd'hui 4 projets sur Lille et ensuite il y aura d'autres lives sur les autres campus en France. On va avoir un mix de web full stack et de machine learning, donc des projets assez variés encore une fois, comme on a l'habitude de faire chez Wolverton. On est assez fiers de Mickael, Nehemie, Thomas et Mustapha, du travail qu'ils ont pu produire pendant 2 ans. C'est l'aboutissement aujourd'hui de tout ça et j'espère qu'ils vont pouvoir mettre en avant tout ce qu'ils savent faire et vous allez pouvoir apprécier le fruit de leur travail. Et on commence avec Mickael Boillaud, avec Aerial Quiz et une plateforme de quiz d'images avec du machine learning derrière. À toi, Mickael.
Merci Benoît. So first of all, thank you for being present today and thank you for hosting me for my final year project presentation. So let me introduce you Aerial Quiz. Aerial Quiz is basically a platform that will, for the user, show some quiz based on images, and the user will have either to decide if the image is a real image or if it's deepfake created image from our model. So I didn't make a slide for present myself. I work alone on the project, so I wear many hats, like for example DevOps, web full stack developer, but also a machine learning scientist. And before we moved on, I just wanted to talk about the presentation. As we already see a lot of web development application, we'll more focus on the artificial intelligence part, so on the data gathering, but also on the modeling that we'll see a bit during the presentation. So also before starting, I just wanted to share with you some constraints. So even after 2 years of development, starting a new project is still exciting, but if we keep with our familiar environment, it's gonna be pretty much restrict the learning curve. So I think it's a really good idea to add some constraints and some challenges to the project, even before started the project and get the idea. So here is my 3 constraints. I can use any deep learning framework from my curriculum Scholar. So basically we learn machine learning based on Keras and with the backend of TensorFlow. So I can use it, I can't use it. I cannot use also pre-existing dataset available on internet. So I need to gather myself the whole data. And also, another part, I cannot use any third-party software except a browser for gathering the data. So, a bit about the idea and the goals. I love computer vision. Like, this is something I fell in love during these years of machine learning studies. And I wanted to explore more about this field, so I did a lot of personal projects. I work with basic model classification, but also more advanced one. I work with object detection, object segmentation, and it lasts 2 major fields that I didn't explore yet. That was the 3D images computation. So basically, it's something like more something about segmentation. But for this, it's based on medical, mostly medical data. So I cannot, go to the hospital and say, "Hey, can you scan me, please? I need some data for my school project." So I end up by choosing the generative artificial intelligence field. And with it, I need something to generate an idea. And it all comes within my first hackathon, where I compete in September. I work on satellite Earth imagery, and I found that it's pretty difficult to find some data about this. So I'm thinking about, can we enhance all the data set available by making some data augmentation? So basically, generated deepfake is a sort of data augmentation. And also, it's aimed to sensibilize people to deep fake images, because it's something we have to deal within the few next years, but also decades or even centuries. Okay, so great. Here's the timeline. It's separated by week. We got 5 weeks, and there was a period of Christmas vacation, but also New Year's. So this is the Grace era. The first week was a bit on the pitch and the presentation, finding the ideas, and also see what I can use for make it real. And in my head, I just wanted to make the backend and the ETL process. So ETL is for gathering all the data within the next 2 weeks. And so clearly that's happened. So I was pretty happy about that. And then I focused a lot on modeling the model. And as you can see, a lot on training the model that lasted long. And finally, on the last week, I just put a lot of my effort on presentation, writing blog, and all that stuff. About the technology I used, so mainly for the backend, I use Flask with PostgreSQL, Redis, all hosts in AWS, and containerize into a Docker container. I also use Kubernetes for managing my containers. I use a bit of Bash to learn some script for the ETL process with the Google Earth web application. And for the modeling part, I use PyTorch, as TensorFlow wasn't possible. So let's talk a bit about the data collection. So the idea was to gather some IRL data of Earth. So what better site than Google Earth to do this? So I can go in and take a lot of screenshots, but it's gonna take a while to do it. So I write a script, so based on a sort of web scraping, that will scrap Google Earth to make it happen. It works with different strategy for collecting picture, but it's also fully parameterable. That offers a lot of flexibility to ensure the quality of data. And it's also AI powered. I know it's a fuzzy word that everybody needs to put in this presentation, but it's true for this project. So let's reveal a bit about the architecture of the data collection part. So the main interface was the recorder, where the user has to put some parameter, like the screenshot width, height, the number of images wanted, and all that stuff. It uses a dependency injection with a classifier that will add the artificial intelligence and use a predict method. Also, dependency injection with the recorder strategy. As I said, there is a lot of different strategy, like a depth first search, also what I call the snail strategy. And it uses an interface of monitor manager, which allows us to move within the Google Earth web application, but also to capture some screen given a width and height. But mainly, the user will not have to use any code of Python. It's all encapsulated into some script bash. So we just need to put some parameters, and that's good. So basically, this is what we got. Pretty fancy, pretty beautiful. But I had to make a choice here because my model could pretty much predict oceans every time, and it's not really complicated to predict a picture of ocean. You take a square and you fill it with blue pixel. Pretty easy. So within these two spots, I just choose to keep only the inland area to make my model predict only inland area. So I just created a model that will discard any picture that have any drop of water, so that I'm sure that the quality of the data is perfect for my model. It won't learn something pretty weird and predict me like some oceans. So for the little part of here, I already know what model use because it's like with experience. It's pretty easy to figure out with knowing that I have only 2,000 pictures in the data set. But I wanted to try and play some different models because we see a lot during the school, and I was like, okay, let's change some parameters, some training parameters. And so I built what we call an experimental tracking. So basically, given a JSON file with some parameters, as we can see here, a script gonna train all the model, keep tracking of all the data, and get an output that will track all the experiments for each model. It will give a tag for every model, so it keeps some versioning process of the model trained, but also it keeps the best model and the best accuracy. And so it allows me to input, to get some input pretty easily with the model tag within the ETL process, with the first script that we saw. And so there is some architecture model available, and actually the one works the better was the pre-trained VGG16 because it's already pre-trained, it's not really complex model, so it's faster and it works like a charm. So let's get into the main dish. For generating images, which model we have to choose. And don't worry, there's a little bit of mathematics, but it's gonna only be this mathematics and there is no other mathematics in the presentation. So basically, there is 3 different models that appear within a chronological order with the VAE, the variational autoencoders, that came up in 2013. Then little year after, there is the generative adversarial network that came out. And to finish, in 2020, so pretty recently, there is the denoising diffusion probabilistic model. So actually, with the math, I will just explain a log P of X. So this X represents the diversity of the image generated. So for example, if you want to generate a fish, we'll get a lot of different species of fish. And the FID scores represent the quality of the data. So for example, if you want to generate a fish, it's going to be like a real fish. You won't see the difference between a real and a fake data. So there is two pretty worlds with a lot of diversity and one with only with the quality. And the DDPM came out to be like the best of both worlds. And actually, this is also the most complicated to train and to implement. So as I talked to challenge earlier, we chose this model to continue on. So a bit word about the diffusion model. We won't get into the mathematical detail unless you ask after the presentation. But the idea is to take an image, so an image that came from the ETL process, and at each step, add a bit of noise to the image. And so at the end, what we call big T time step, we'll have full noisy images. So big T in the paper is actually 1000, so it's pretty much a lot of steps. But we ensure at the end to have a fully noisy image. And so this process is purely mathematical, so we won't learn anything, there is no machine learning. But we need to make it backward. We need to start from the full noisy image and come out with the full image without noise. But actually, we can't do it unless we know the final image. So if we want to predict, to generate new images, we can't knowing already the generated image. So when mathematical doesn't work, we involve artificial intelligence. And so the model will predict at each time, like for example, between the time 20 and the time 19, it will predict the noise add in between those two steps. And so as the model will learn efficiently how to denoise a model of a given type, starting from a full noisy image, the model will hallucinate a new image that never existed before. So this is the architecture of the model used. We won't get into detail unless you ask. This is some base components. And so, actually, this is the dataset that I collected from the ETL process. A bit word about this. I firstly get some data from Spain, only because it's a square country, don't worry. And so we get a lot of dry IRA, like this, and the model was mainly trained on it, so it can impact on the result, and we'll see that it impact on the result. But then on the last few steps, I add a bit of France. We can see some fields, some cities that happened to be in the dataset. And so, as I can show you some demo, actually I won't train the model in front of you because it takes a lot of time. Actually, this is some of the steps. So a steps is actually the model learned from 16 images. So on the first steps, as we can see, the model doesn't learn anything. You need more training, but some results appear in the 10,000 steps and pretty much involve within the last 30,000 steps. As we can see, this is pretty close to what we got on the dataset. We also have a full black images, but don't worry, it's actually pretty normal to get it. I can discuss with it about this later if you ask. And so after the full training, we end up with some pretty decent images. As I told you, I add some field images and city images during the step like 34,000. Yeah, 34,000. So we can see some bit of city that happened on some picture, but actually this picture and this picture pretty look like from the dataset. And so I don't know what you think about, but I think we get some pretty good results, some pretty amazing results, I can say. About the training, it lasts for 17 hours on my computers, and sometimes I get a lot of issues with my GPU, but you know what happens. Congrats, we did the most difficult part. Get back to something we pretty understand as an old software developer. So this is mainly the architecture of the application. Actually, it uses, as I told, the backend and the frontend within a Docker container. It's all connected with AWS using the host IAM, and it will be connected to Postgre, Redis, and S3 storage. So S3 storage is basically to store all the images of the quiz, so it's pretty much easy to find it and much scalable. And so the diffusion and the ETL process are pretty much on edge device. As the model take a lot of resources, it will cost a lot to put it on AWS. And also, as we can see, we got some black screen images. So I need to always verify if the image pretty much can be in the quiz. So there is a user verification, so that's me, that's my job. And I put all the created image on S3. Great. About the success, I think I'm pretty happy with the ETL process. Excuse me. I succeed to get 4,000 images an hour, so it's pretty much a good speed, knowing that I trained the model on 30,000 images, so that's some pretty much hours of gathering data. You decide if the model was trained successfully, but in my opinion, it's pretty good. And also I got a functional backend because I didn't implement yet the front-end. I all it with my imagination of what the front-end need, but actually the backend worked pretty well. And so the improvement, there is a bit of lag using Google Earth on the website. So sometimes it samples twice the same area, and it can become something that I don't want to train my model on. So maybe using the software of Google Earth, we can code it directly on it, so we can take some data, and that will be much easier. Train further the model. As we can see, there is the integration of city and fields, and the model didn't learn yet quite well how to create them. So I think with more steps, it will be a better model. And also something I keep under my bed for too long, building the front end, as I don't like too much building a front end application. So before I conclude, I think there is an ethical approach to the project. As we build deepfake images, it's always a sensible subject. I think for the case of a project, as the aim is to sensibilize people actually on deepfake, the ethical impact is pretty reduced. But actually, if people came to my GitHub, you can train the model actually with this data set and generate some deepfake. But in my opinion, I think the ethical part, it's pretty much not about the technology used and the technology that's been researched, but mainly on the use and the people that use the technology. I think that's pretty much something that we want to advance the research, but taking care of the utilization of the technology. So thank you for listening. This is all for the presentation. If you have more questions, feel free to ask, and thank you.
Do we have questions? Can you explain a bit more about the training of the model? Did you have like failures in the first place with accuracy problems like 40%, 50%? How did you come up with good results? And was it difficult?
Yeah, actually, there is not like metrics except the FID, which is pretty something based on like out the ads. So we don't need to check it like to see if the model perform well. We only check the loss. So actually, it's a metric to say if the model like work pretty well. We want like to get the loss close to 0. And on the first place, I built the model and it won't work at all. It's just because I did some failure about the math implementation on my code. And then after applying the math implementation, I did a try by generating some really, really small pictures, like to speed up the process and see if there is improvement within using the right mathematical tools. And it works. So then I just learned the model for a night. The morning I check my model run out memory. So I needed like to always constantly check if my model was trained or if it stops. But I make sure that I have some checkpoint like every 1,000 steps, so I can get back to my trained model and keep the training continue. Yeah.
What did you enjoy the most on this project?
Actually, a lot on the modeling part. This is something that I loved. Actually, if we can get back to the model, I use a UNet, but actually I read a lot of paper and implement a lot of different paper in the same model. So actually, this block has been changed. Here we get like some other mechanism. And so like reading paper, try and play with my model and see what works, see what won't work. But yeah, this is what the most enjoyable part.
And what was the most difficult part?
The modeling too. I guess we're not sure about the expected outcome. We just try and play. You know, it's an iterative loops. So yeah, but actually for the first time, it doesn't take that long to figure out and to get some results. So I was pretty happy.
Why did you get the black images?
Because actually, what does diffusion model is actually when we take these steps by adding noise to each step, we want to get from the distribution of each images. So if we look like a 2D plane, we have a cloud of each Earth images. And so this cloud will represent all the possible images that can exist within this distribution. And we want to shift this distribution to something we know, like a Gaussian distribution. So that's why we have Gaussian noise. But actually, when we do the backward, we start from the Gaussian noise and we try to end into the distribution of the images, the initial distribution. And so, as I don't have a lot of different images, as I said, there was mainly dry areas and mountain, as you can see here. I don't have, a lot of ice images, some coast images and all that stuff. And so the model did not really get into the full mapping of the Gaussian space and the image space. So sometimes it just shoots so far away from the image space that we don't get any good images.
Could you tell us more about the hallucination in your training and was it the method?
Actually, the hallucination is just like starting from the full noise image and ends up with a real image, like the model just created from its mind. So basically, I don't know if it's answered the question.
You didn't encounter any specific.
No, there is only Earth images.
What is the end goal of the data you would acquire through the quiz?
The end goal?
Of the data you would acquire?
Actually, I don't like. I will not try to get like the answer, like the good answer, like the proportion of the thing. I think it's more something that okay, you did wrong. Take care of trying to more being focused next time, more an experience user based application more than something where I will collect some data.
No other questions?
And if you want all the mathematical aspect, I write a blog on how to build a diffusion model. So if you need something pretty much accurate, I can share you the link.
Okay. Thank you, Mickael.
Thank you.
What I really like on your presentation is that you mentioned all the ethical aspects as well.
Yeah.
And also those kind of models, it also depends on which data set you apply it to. So it's really good to have an eye on this and to keep it in mind. So good job.
Thanks.
We'll be back at, on sera de retour à 14h45, quarter to 3, with Nehemie, and I will tell you more about his project in a few minutes. Bienvenue de retour tout de suite pour le live de Nehemie qui va nous présenter Loyalty RC, un site de location automobile. À toi la main Nehemie.
Hey there, I'm thankful for you being here today to conclude our 2 years and our specialization here. Today I want to present you Loyalty RC with an application which offers seamless booking for users online. What is Loyalty RC? Loyalty RC is a high-end rental car company that rents premium cars. And I just made an application for them, a web application for them to use to make seamless booking online. So in this project I was working alone. I created the design, so I was a designer. I was a front-end developer and a back-end developer. So I was a UI designer and a full-stack developer. So what's Loyalty different from others? Because we already know that there are others applications out there that does rental booking. The thing is, in high-end and premium rental booking, there's no such thing as an application that lets users book online, so they can directly see what's available and can directly pay on the platform. For example, nowadays, if you want to book something, you need to fill out a form. It's pretty long. If there are others, regular customers, they will have the car before you, even if you were there before. And this project brings up transparency, so you can see what's available or not, secure transaction, and personalized booking process. So here, what the competitors have. On the left, you have one that is based in Luxembourg. I won't name the company. The UI is great, but still you don't see what's available, and you still need to fill out the form. And if somebody is there before you, that is a regular customer, it's the same. And the one that's on the right is a company from Lille, and you can see that the UI is not that. Like, I feel like I would be scammed if I come to this site and try to rent a car. So the mission of Loyalty RC is to elevate the rental, make it seamless, so the users can feel like he's in charge when he's renting something. So the SWOT, the strength, the weakness, and the opportunities and threats. The strength, like I said, is the application that I created for the company. And the weakness is I was alone on this project, so to implement something takes a bit of time because I had to test it, then I had to revise on the back end. If I have to change something on the front end, it takes a bit of time. The opportunities are endless in the rental businesses. And the threat is that there's a lot of competitors. But with this application, I think it will make Loyalty RC better than others rental car company and make them elevate. The technology that I've used, first and foremost, I use TypeScript because nowadays I can't use JavaScript because I don't feel it's enough powerful. A lot of bugs that are hidden, and TypeScript make the development way easier. Next.js is a framework, which is a full stack framework, which has Node.js and React. I've used Tailwind CSS for the styling, Prisma to communicate with my database, which is in MySQL, Resend to send the emails, Next.auth for the authentication, Cloudinary for the file and the file upload, and Stripe to make the payment secure, because the whole point of this application is that the user feel in charge and feel safe. So this is my database model. For the moment, it's pretty simple. I didn't have time to refactor this. I like to work first with everything, then I like to chop things up. So for the moment, it's just like that, but it will be looking a little bit more different in a few weeks. For the data security and performance, I've used Bcrypt for everything that is sensitive, like password. You don't want your password to be stored like that into a database. Next auth, which is based on JW token, JSON Web Token, for everything that is related to authentication. You want like your data is your data, and there's some part of the website that we don't want you there. That's why we use authentication. Rate limiting against brute force attack and HTTPS, which is better than HTTP. For the website performance, I've used server action, which is different than regular REST API. Where I could use server action, I was using them. Otherwise, I was just using simple REST API. Server-side rendering, which is better than client-side rendering, because everything is built on the back end, then everything is loaded faster. Because, for example, if you use just React, everything is created on the front end. But with something like Next.js and server-side rendering, everything is built on the back end, so the website is way faster. And for the image optimization, I've used the image component of Next.js, which help for things like lazy loading. And the cool thing with this is it's optimized each images for the right size on the app. The schedule of work, organize myself. I took the first week to search to see what other people did on a project in the rental industry, so I could see what was missing, what should be on the website. I took time to see on design on Behance and Dribble, and then I built my design on Figma. Then on the second week, I switched on the front-end development. Since I already have a front-end built since I already have a design built, it was easier for me to just build the front-end. For the back-end development, I did that on the third week for everything that was Stripe related, authentication, and file upload, etc. And on the final week, I did everything that was final touches to see, for example, the little bug that needed to be fixed, and to come up with something that could be presentable for today, even though the project is not done yet. This is a design I went with. Like I said, I built it on Figma, and now we're just going to take a look tour on my website and walk you through it to see if you were a user, what it would be for you. So let's create an account first. If you're not connected, you can connect here. So I'm going to create an account. So I'm a male. My name is Nehemie.
You're a woman.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. All right, I'm a woman. Oh, yeah. And up. Which is a password. After I sign up, I'm directly connected and redirected to the home page. So if we go into my profile, I can change things. I can add an address if I want, a phone number. I can change my email. And we're going to try to change my email, even though we're not going to get through the whole process. But if I click here, and I go now into my emails, I will receive an email, which will give me a code that I can use to put into my account so I can change my email. So not everybody can change your email, you need the code to change. And I'll have the order historic, which you'll see after that we try to order something. For the moment, that's how the website looks. If I want to see all the collection, that's how it looks. I can go through one page, take a bit of time. And let's go try to book something. So let's say I want to book something for next week, 16 to 23, and I want to book which one? Anthony?
The biggest one.
All right, 6. Let's say you want to be with someone to drive, okay? And I want to upload some files. I'm just uploading dummy files. I don't want to take too much time. All right, now I'm going to order something. I'll be redirected to Stripe. Here I'm on text mode, so I can yeah. Here I'm on test mode, so I can enter a card number, which is given by Stripe, which is 42, 42, 42, 42, to be able to make a purchase. I'm not that rich, so. Okay. So now paid, I will be redirected to my order historic. This is the order I just did, and if you come to Stripe, you will see that we have a new order. Okay, the latest order that we did for the ODR6. Which is cool with Stripe is that we can send what it's called, receipt directly to the email which was used for the purchase. So right now, if I go to the email, if I give the right password, and we come back, I will receive an email by Stripe, hopefully. Why not? Well, I should receive an email. At the beginning, the email was looking in a different way because I did put some effort into the email, but I had some complication when I started pushing it to the live. So for the moment, that's what the email should look like. But for the moment, to make things work for the demo day today, I had to come back into something a little bit simpler. And yeah, that's what my website looks like and my project Loyalty Asia. If you have some questions, I'll be happy to respond to them. And that's it.
It's not a question, but I think your design is really, really, really nice.
Thanks. Yes.
You talk about the competitors that are actually on the market, and you make a benchmark on what they already offer and what's missing, or you deal by prioritize the thing that you want to implement on your.
Well, I know a bit of the market, so I know what's missing, and as a user, I just implemented what I think would be missing. Like, I think when you're going to something like an Airbnb, you're booking something on Airbnb, you like to know what's available and what's not, and if on their websites it basically looks like everything's available and you're just waiting for a response. So.
Can you detail how it works with your backend for the availability of the cars or the offer?
So for the backend, I'm working with data time. For example, if you book something, I require 2 days. I require the start date and the end date. And basically, I just take the two days and I search into my database. Is there a date between those two? That means that it's reserved, and if they're not, that means it's available. Yes.
So it's fully synchronized and live.
Yeah.
Anytime you have the right.
Do you think about using your first project in connection with this one? So the blockchain to use with the
Well, we could use the blockchain to make the payment, to make it a little
for
bit.
example, or not only to, for example, to know all the interaction of your rent workflow.
I don't really understand your question.
When you rent a car, you will have a lot of rents, you know, a lot of people who want to rent the same.
Yeah.
And you can use the blockchain to follow all the process. Or it's only to. I don't know if you thought about that or not, or if it's how do you say that? Update, a feature update.
I'm the only one that don't understand what you're saying.
Can you use the blockchain like to reference all the interaction between the user and your rental
Oh,
system?
it's all on Stripe. I can see all that on Stripe.
Okay.
It's all synchronized with Stripe. When I upload something, also because I didn't show you, I need to log out real quick. I need to go to the admin. When I add a car right now, it's all synchronized with Stripe. Because I didn't show you the admin dashboard, that's what it looks like. And if I want to add something, I add it here. Then it will be synchronized with Stripe. And for each payment, it will be synchronized. I could see the history of orders in Stripe directly.
And for those things, do you think to translation of your website too?
Yeah, that's something I want to add. I want to add this to make the availability to change the language, and then we'll change the whole page.
Okay. We have a good translator here.
Yes.
Do you think it could be possible as a user? I don't know, maybe somebody already has a luxury car or a fast one. Would it be possible for them to rent their car also via your platform?
You can't in France do that. You can't. You can't do subleasing in France.
Okay. Shit.
Sorry.
And we have maybe a security question. Are you in the future going to handle bad customers or bad people who?
Well, the true reality is the customers is the key, and then you can block them in your website, but you can't really do much. So yeah. Yes.
Along the question, like, do you in the future plan to make a service customer, like with some messages with the customer?
Messages with customers? Yeah, that's something that I plan to do directly on this platform. I didn't implement it yet because it takes a bit of time, especially since I'm working alone, but yeah, something I want to do.
Right.
How does it work on mobile? Do you have an app? Is it responsive?
For the moment, it's not responsive. Not the whole website is responsive.
Okay.
Because I'm alone. But yeah, I plan to make it responsive. And in the future, I plan to change the backend and use Java. So I can use one server for the front end and the backend. So for example, on a mobile, I will have something coded in React Native. So I could have a mobile application and keep the front end on XJS and just with one server for the front end on desktop and on mobile. Is it it?
What did you like the most on this project?
The most working with Stripe because it was my first time working with it. I thought in the beginning it's going to be a bit harder than that, but it plans to be really smooth. So I liked working with Stripe.
Okay. Thank you, Nehemie.
On se retrouve vers 15h15, d'ici 5 minutes, le temps de switcher, avec Thomas Lenormand, son gestionnaire d'IA appliqué aux jeux vidéo et au deep learning. On est de retour. Thomas est prêt pour nous parler de AI Playground. À toi.
Hello everybody. Today I'm gonna present to you my end of year project that's called AI Playground. Yes, good. I would like to present you my project that will learn you to learn and train models simply. So just first about me, I'm Thomas Lenormand, 27. I'm a part-time job working at companies in the morning and at Alberton School the afternoon. Since 1.5 years, so I work mainly with on SAP, the software SAP, with programming languages like ABAP, Node.js, SAP V5, SQL, MongoDB, and a lot of more. So just a summary, I would like to introduce my project first, then the analysis of needs, the architecture, will show you the architecture I use for my project. Just quick view about the user interface, I would like to present you then the data management, a little bit about the technical design, some tools I used, the progress summary of my project, the future development I planned to do, and maybe if we have time, a little demonstration. So the introduction, the context is, I would like to create an application and insert into it the machine learning and expose the machine learning to user to put it accessible for everybody that doesn't know anything about machine learning and how to train a model. The objective is to have an intuitive template creation of models for user. The models we can train, obviously, and we can test it with a personalized experience. The choice of a project is perfect for the RNCP, I think, criteria, and it first comes from a personal initiative and would like to develop and create an application for that. Analysis of needs, quickly, we have to create an access for the user, an intuitive model creation. We have to train our model, so we should be able to train the model. We should be able to have a performance visualization, obviously, to see if the model performing well or not. The security, database, model storage, performance management. My application will be multi-platform. We have to be compatible with a lot of device. The scalability to handle the increase of user in the future, and the multi-language. So I decide to work with a risk table that I decide to sort with impact and emergency. This is a personal choice. I choose a scale between 1 and 5 for both to order the action I will work on first and the priority. Then we have just to multiply the impact by the emergency to have a score. And more the score is important, and more the task is important, I should work on it first. So the technology I used, so for the front end, I would like to work with React Native, because React Native is something I absolutely doesn't know. I would like to just learn about it. That is why I choose React Native, just to learn working on React Native. That's approximately the same idea for Node.js, because the standard API is mainly with Node, so I would like to learn more on Node.js. And my Node.js database API is connected with a Mongo database. Then I've got a second API with Python. I will show you just after, and a containerizer with Docker. So to explain more my architecture I use, so at the bottom you will find the basic, like I call basic application with a front end, back end, and a database. So basically, is like every organization you can find, every application you can find is the standard architecture you can find. And I decided to add another API with a containerizer, Docker, just in order to train my model, create my model. This is my second API is everything around machine learning. And I decided to use Python because it's easier to work with TensorFlow, Keras, and every machine learning packages. So the advantages is the modularity. I have just to remove the machine learning application, Python and Docker, to stay on my standard application. But some disadvantages are the management, the data transmission between every of these API and databases. So just quickly, user interfaces, we've got the main view, that's the view my model, that you can find every model for the user. So for example, we create a model, the first model, and we have the training indicator that indicates if the model is running training or not. Some additional data to view details of my model and a delete button to remove the model. You've got the form main button, you can create a new model, you can play with your model you just create before, you can start and stop the training, it will run a Docker container and run the model on the container and train the model on it and save some logs that you can find after in the stats button. Create the interface to create a model, really easy for now. Just add some layers, and for each card you can find at the bottom corresponding to one layer, and you have to just select the type of layer you want to add. Like the first layer is input, then as an example you see you have a convolution 2D layer. You choose obviously the game for which you want to train your model, and that's it for the model creation. The user interface statistics. I first do some tests on a model I trained for 13 hours and 300,000 logs. We can view here at the beginning of the training, the model performed like around an average of 2 points per game, and at the end, around 3 points per game. That we can find is also the average, the linear average is growing up very slowly, but it's growing up. I just had to understand, we begin, in this example, we begin with an epsilon of 1. That means every prediction, every action of the model will be determined randomly, and a prediction of 0.9, that means 90% of the action chosen by the model will be performed randomly, and the 10% last is predicted by the model. So the model tries to predict the best action to do with the game we are working on. So this is something I first implement with a simple, really simple graphic. And that allows the user to be able to visualize the performance of its model it creates just before, and the train of what the model is performing pretty well or bad. On this example, there is around 80 games. It's clearly not enough to see any progress on the model, but for me, it's just a good sample to work on. So data management, I just create some collections separated by. So you can find here links between what I call the Node API and the Python API. The links, because the Node API part of my database is like for standard application with a user collection and a role collection, and separated with only the username makes the links between the user and every model related for this user. Then these models are links with a Docker instance that we use to train the model. And every Docker instance is linked with logs. When we train our model, we save logs regarding the Docker instances. Then the model have also a configuration and different layers used to create our models. A little part about the technical design. We have two API, but same logic for both. So first the request is coming, we've got a logger, a custom logger, to log from which route it comes from, with which data. And if we have to get information in the databases, we log everything when we access to the databases. Then we've got an authentication middleware to authenticate obviously the user. Validator to validate the data coming into the route. Then a pointer to the controller function, and this is where we do the code logic. And then the output is formatted it's just formatted and send the response status 200. The tool I use is obviously GitHub to store my code with conventional commits. Just one commit to push my update, and one commit to update the version of the application. I use also Office, the suite Office, with like Word to do a very ugly mock view, but a very useful mock view, and Excel to just format my what data I want for which route, and have a standard table that I can refer to when I develop my application. The progress summary, still a lot of work to do, but I'm pretty proud of the project for now. I will not pass in detail on it. Timeline, very, very fast, the ugly timeline, we are currently at the middle. Deployment prévu for the September of this year, very, very far, but I've got a lot of work to do again. Future development, would like to extend to different data again, because I will show you later, just after. We've got for now only one game. I would like to review the design of the application, because it's very ugly for now. I have to think about the deployment in September, maybe, of this year. And extend, I would like to extend the application to a larger data set, using not only the Atari games, but also like image models, like you can take an image with your phone and you can recognize character on a sheet or something like this. Just a short demonstration. This is a beautiful application with a nice background, changing. Oh, I like this one. So let's log in. As you can see, it's not finished at all, but it's performing pretty well for now. So I handle first the language of the application, because it's useful to think before developing the application, to think to handle the different languages. Then, if you are going to the view, like my models, you can find every model that I already created for this user. So let's create a new model, add some layers, name the model, the game, like if we want to change, we can change, but for now let's stay on breakout. The input layer, I will not change the input. We can add a convolutional layer, a flatten layer, and for example a dense layer for the output, and choice like 3, just to try it. Let's create the model name's demo. Go back on it. We've got the demo model Here we can see just additional data, but it's not. Oh yes, we can see it pretty well here. So every layer I created regarding this model. Let's trying to start the training for that. Up, the button passed on red. Yes, right. So the model is currently training on a Docker instance. So I can disconnect myself and reconnect 2 days later. It will be continue to try to training on the container instance. I can stop it if I want. It's a bit long, so just shut down this. If you want to see some statistics, let's try to find them on a model already trained, at least a bit. Well, it's not, yes, it's working pretty good. It's not very, very well, but we can see the statistics regarding this model. So, for example, this one train for 1 hour, we've got 80,000 logs, and 80 games. Let's go back to if you want to try with play with this one maybe. We can choose 1 or 2 players. We can create the view. We can reset if we want. And we've got the view. I'm on the left, my AI is on the right, and we can test it and try to win versus the AI. Oh, it's very slow, not difficult, but complicated to handle the touch, the game. I can also click on button because with React Native I plan to deploy it on multiple devices like Android or iOS, but for now I develop on Windows and it's still good for now. What do I have more? No, that's all for me. So thank you. If you have any question regarding this application, I will be happy to respond. Mickael.
Yeah, I have a question because as you present, like the user has to choose the model, like the architecture stuff, but it seems to have a lot of buzzword like 2D. What is this?
Yes.
Like, do you plan to make any
yes.
guide or any like?
I plan to add some help to create a model, but for now I just planned it, but I didn't do it. Like input will display the input help, etc., etc. But I obviously need to do it. I have to do it, but it's not make now for now. Right. But it's planned.
Nice.
Do you plan to keep on working on this project until it's more refined?
Yes.
As you mentioned.
Yes, I really like.
You have like months of work ahead.
Yeah, yes.
Based on your planning.
I really like to work on it, and I would like to deploy it later. Okay. But it still have a lot of work.
And what would be the first features you will work on? Adding more games or?
Just make it working.
Yeah. Okay.
No, yes, adding every games with this environment because I use Atari games, and Atari is like I don't know every games there is, but you've got Breakout, Assault, and a lot of other old games we can find, like maybe Tetris or something like this. But I'm looking for a UI designer to redesign my application, and maybe your application was well, so.
It's a job, actually.
Yes, it's a job. It's not my job.
Why did you choose to apply your machine learning knowledge to such an idea? How did you come up with this idea? Why?
Maybe because my mother asked me, I don't understand. Hey, it's easy, you have a model, a game, a model train, a game. No, I don't understand. It's a good start to start my project, working on this type of help for user doesn't know machine learning.
Do you have a model in here already trained long enough so that they become quite good?
No. I have no.
How long do you estimate it will require?
I absolutely don't know. Oops. Let's see. Like I show you 13 hours of training, we got a little improvement, but I work on it before I delete it. And my model wins more than me, versus me. My model wins more than me. I was terribly bad. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it wins not every time, but it was better than you saw just before.
Okay.
Yes.
What did you enjoy the most during the project?
Maybe working with the both API and try to dialogue between them.
That wasn't
Ah?
That was a front?
Alors, what did I absolutely hate is React Native. Really hard to, because it was my first time on React Native and I doesn't appreciate it. Really difficult to handle. But now it's better, but it's still some strange things on the framework. But at least it works finally pretty well. And we've got at least an application working off.
Did you make the spinner yourself?
Did I make the
Spinner, the fox?
I found it on it's a GIF.
Okay.
It's a funny cat. Donut cat. Yes.
And on the next step, you talk about the deployment. Do you plan to merge the two API into only one API?
Oh no, never. Because I would like to, as I told you, I would like to work and finish it on the Atari environment, and then I would like to work on another environment, like another CNN type of neural network. And I would that another API for this environment to just make the distinction between both of them, and to remove or add or easily another API, another type of neural network, another type of game, or I don't know.
Like create some kind of microservice?
Yes, like kind of microservice. Just to be flexible.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Other questions? Okay.
Thank you Thomas. On se retrouve à 15h45, je vérifie, dans 5 minutes. Le temps de brancher tout ça avec Mustapha qui va nous présenter sa plateforme de partage et de réservation d'événements. retour avec Mustapha Abourar qui va nous présenter EventVibe.
EventVibe, yes.
EventVibe.
EventVibe. Bright and Vibe. Hello everybody. So this is my project for finishing my second year of full stack developer. So it was a tough year, and we learned a lot of stuff, a lot of backend, a lot of front end, a lot of technologies. And yes, I choose this project. I have a lot in my mind, and we moved from one to another. And I finished with this project. I call it EventVibe. So event that can people share to get some vibes, to share vibes for every person or every user that can enjoy my platform. So this is me. You can find these pictures all over the internet, in my LinkedIn, in my. So my name is Abourar Mustapha. So I'm a student here in the Alberto School, 36 years. I'm father of two beautiful boys, Ismail and Isaac. This is very when you are a developer and you work from home and you have the kids around you, it's very difficult to work, very difficult to develop and to perform. So this is the content of my presentation of project. I will talk about what is the app, the utility of the app, the technology, front end, back end, interface, architecture, database, and I will share my screen to show the real project, the MVP of the project, and last is question and response. So this is the logo that I choose. I use like stable diffusion to help me to get a nice logo. So I choose this application because I like music. I like mixing music. I'm not finding a lot of applications that help people to share their. If, for example, I want to make an event and I want to share my event with people. So can people see my event? People can or user can book their event. The event will be maybe paid or free. People can share their event on every category. I use lots of categories like sports, music, dancing, like entertainment, educational. Cooking, gardening, a lots of categories, and yes, so this is a very simple app with navbars and footers and lots of other features. So the learning objective of this project, it's just to demonstrate or to practice 1 year of full stack development here in Alberton School. Lots of database and lots of technologies with Node.js or JavaScript, TypeScript, React, and I use Next.js like my colleague Nehemie because it's similar as Django for Python. React, it's only based on front end, and you need Nest or Express.js to perform a calling endpoint API. Yes, that's why I'm using Next.js. It's very good layer and top layers of React that handle API, that handle actions also. And what is best of this framework? It's this very new, and they have a lots of features. Other features like Prisma, which is an ORM for mapping data, for mapping SQL with my code or with the calling endpoint for the API. And I deploy it on DigitalOcean. I take a server and I use Nginx and Certbot to get certification and to deploy it on the internet. There is a technology that I use, Next.js, like a framework server-side rendering for my app. Tailwind. Why Tailwind? Because Tailwind it's very easy, and this is preset default CSS configuration. Very easy to implement, and they give you the way to make your website responsive. So this is very good preset CSS. TypeScript. Why TypeScript? Because TypeScript is they can help you to handle typing without error after the development. When you go to the build or to the production with TypeScript, it's very easy. But if you use JavaScript, you have to do a lots of tests to how to handle the type of data and what data you expect to get from the component or from the functions or from the interface or from the API. Node.js, of course, because without Node.js we can run the whole front end or the back end also. Prisma, which is a very good tool to ORM database, like for people who using Python. It's like a Flask with SQL Alchemy, is the same thing. Postgres, which is an SQL database. Docker, I use Docker in the beginning for only development, but in the production now I'm not using it. I use directly DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean, which is a provider for server. Git for the version control. I use Redis for caching because I say why not using Redis for caching data to give a little bit of free to get to caching data and to get Postgres only calling if there is no data in the cache. That's why I'm using Redis. It's a key value memory storage, very fast. Certbot for getting certification for my website for having HTTPS secure, and Nginx for serving routing and for handling all the requests to my server in DigitalOcean. This is my front end, the app. I have a home page, a search. I have a lots of I have searching by country, by city, by address also. Profile routing. So when you get authenticated in my app, you have a user menu. So for all your events, your coming events, or you setting your information. Footer, of course. I have footer with the links for churn policy and services and also contact. Authorization, of course. If you not authorized, if you don't have authorization, you can't put or you can't share event. So you have to be authenticated to share event with the users. This is my backend API. So I use also action servers beside the API. So the API have three: have event, reservations, and user. Everyone has a CRUD, like create, read, update, and delete. It's a very simple REST API. You have an ID for the event. You have reservation ID also, and user ID for perform all the endpoint API to perform some manipulation of data from the front end to the back end by passing by the API. This is my schemas for database. I have 4 schemas for 4 tables. I have user, account, and listening, which is event, and the reservation. So they have a lots of one-to-many to one-to-many. For example, user, they have one to account, and also user can have an event, and user can have a reservation also. They have one-to-many, and of course, account also can have both, can have user and listening, and reservation also. Reservation can have user. It's really lots of one-to-many databasing. This slide, I just make it just right now, just to show how I handled my cache. So the user can put a request to the database. If the request it's already cached, so Redis will serve directly the client. If not, the logic in my backend will call the database to retrieve data and give it a response back to the client side. For the production and deployment, so I buy a VPS server, private server, virtual private server. So I put it. I use uncomplicated firewall in my Linux to make a lot of security, to give a user to restrict root manipulation, and I install Nginx in it, and PM2. It's like a library. It's a package from package of Node that can serve a lot of instances of my application. I use it to run my built app in the server, and certbot for having an HTTPS on my website. So there is a lot of things that I want to add to my app. It's multi-factor authentication because I don't have it right now. So people can they have a lot of to make a lot more security to my app. Multi-factor authentication by email or by SMS or by app. Email validation for reservation. So people who users that reserve that they book their event, they can receive an email based on the if the organizer accept their booking or not. I want to add chat service and message or messaging. I want to add an algorithm for matching user based on their event. For example, if an user like music and they book an event, and the other one do this, they have this similarity of their choice, and they can match them to have this. For that, they can have a notification. So this user have the same hobby, the same event like the other user, so they can match user together. And last is test driving. It's the last thing that I want to implement. It's very important for the app. Thank you. Before I will show you my web. Yes. I'm using my phone for the connection, but sorry, it will be a little bit. There is my front. I have a little small video here to show. That's when you share your event. I can because I'm authenticated right now. But if I'm not, I can't. I have to authenticate. So that will take a time. I use Out.js, Next.js for handling authentication with Google as provider, and yes. So there is the event that I used. This is here. We have wellness from Casablanca, Toulouse, Lille, Marrakesh. This Marrakesh is not used in France. No. It's Morocco. It's in French. So Lille, Paris. This is the event that come in next this month, like in January. So there is all the event. This is like a data that I put by myself. So this is, for example, we go into this beautiful event for dancing here. So this is the hosted by I don't know who's. It's just so this is the people who booked. It's me. I booked already. So I can book because I already booked the event. I can choose how many person. I give only 3 because if you book for more than 3 person, I think it's a little bit I don't know. So this is the address. This is a little description. This is the category, and I will handle later to make the pointer directly in the city. This is some link that I. So yes, for adding this, I use dancing here. So you can put the address here and the city. If you do this, you can't go to the next step. You have to, for example, I will use it now. So I can do, for example, France. Yeah. So I add the date. So 1/18/2004. 1/19/2004. For how many person you attend? I think 30%. I add a picture. I use Cloudinary for handling for making pictures. This one. Scope and the title for the event. Title for the event like this. The price, €10, and here is over here. You can see it is here. For deleted, you can go to my events over here and I can delete it. Or if, for example, someone can book my event. So, for example, my reservation. This is all my reservation. I can cancel also any reservation. I can cancel it, and also my favorite over here. I can. Okay. So this is.
You didn't talk much on the next step, so do you have plan for the future?
Plan for the future, yes. I would like to add so people can accept or not the reservation. For example, you put in a reservation in my website, in my platform. So I will make a profile, a page of profile for every user have a profile. So the organizer can check your profile to see if I can accept you or not, because I don't want to accept anybody to come to my event So that's why it's a little bit of trust, to trust people who can come into the event. So also I would like to add like sending an email when you accept people. You can send the email with the address and with the invitation to come in with the invitation. Like this, you have a little bit of trust between users and the organizer.
Did you use Royal free image for this website?
Free image. I use Canva to get image, but it's not really, it's copyrighted. Yes, it's not. I'm not going to make this web to this app or around to sharing with people, or make it on what's his name, AdWork, or in AdWord, or in Google. But when I finish, I will delete all the image in my Cloudinary, in my profile, because I know it's not good to use the image from. But it's free image, I think. When you get the image from Canva, I think it's for free. Well,
Do you think?
I don't know.
It's on the web.
It's in my server, yes.
Yes, but it's on the web.
It's on the web.
Yes, it's on your website, on your server.
Yes, it's in my server, but I can delete it.
Yes, be careful about that.
Yes, it's in Cloudinary. I can delete it later. That's why in the beginning I choose pictures, but after that I really turn to illustrate flyers, because I think of this problem of copywriting images, and I find this very good than the image like this or other. But yes, I can't find the image on internet, so that's why I'm using Canva to get image for resourcing my database.
I was a bit curious on the technical part that you use Redis for cache requests.
Yes.
Is that something that you face during the development, that the requests have too much delay, or that's something that pretty much fancy thing that you wanted to add and to learn from?
Yes, because the image, sometimes when you call for image, it's very heavy, yeah. And even right now the performance of my of my app, it's not really good. It's really slow. It's not really performant. And I use Redis in the beginning. When I implement Redis, I face with a lot of problems. When I add an event, it's already deleted in the database, but it's still in the cache. But when I get a call the API for getting the data, I get all the event that I deleted before. I find a lot of problems for caching with Redis, but I really use it only for 2 or 3 files. Redis, I use it for getting data and deleting data, and I think for the favorites, to get all the favorites, and to get all the user who book the same event. This is the three file when I use the Redis in it.
Question: why did you choose to go with Redis when you can manage your caches in Next.js?
I don't really think about it, because I think in DigitalOcean you can have a Redis, I really don't know why I'm not choosing next JS caching. I think about Redis and I say why not Redis, because also Redis is very fast. Redis is very fast, and this is like NoSQL. It's like a key value, very easy. They have only you can only choose two methods like set or get. And I don't know. I don't have lots of info about caching on Next.js. I know IndexedDB, and local storage, but Next.js is the first time. I'm not really think about it. Yes.
When you deploy your website and make it available to people to create events,
yes.
Do you have a security check on what they will put as images or text?
Really no. This is a very good question, but really no. But even I think on the other platform, it's very hard to verify what image you can post, but because you need a model to do that, I think, to get an image or to check if this image is sensible or not. Really not.
Not only the image, but also the type of event.
The type of event, yes. Yes, the type of event, yes. I think yes. I think
moderation can be important.
Yes. Also, you can have restricted for some keywords, like keywords that you can put in blacklist like this. If people can make an event about something, this is very restricted, very out of privacy, or we can check the list of word that is blacklisted, and after that we can make the API, we can make the call, we can create event, or we can send like a pop-up to the user to say, hey, this is not allowed. But this is very good question. Yep. This is very interesting. Yes.
What part of the project did you enjoy the most?
Not design. It is responsive. It is good. But creating components. I like creating components, passing data between components, and the backend also. Database, and how to migrate database to call that database. It's very funny, very good. I like design. I like also front end, but the most thing I really loved is the relation between the API and the database, and get this database, put it in here, migrate, create field, migrate to the new to the schema, to databases. It was really good for me.
Okay, thank you, Mustapha.
You're welcome.
Merci d'avoir suivi le live Wolverton. Encore une fois, c'est plutôt sympa parce qu'on voit qu'il y a pas mal de diversité dans les projets, dans les technos, pas mal de choses qui n'ont pas forcément été vues à l'école d'ailleurs, mais qui sont allés chercher, grappiller en fonction des idées qu'ils ont pu avoir dans leur projet. C'est des petits projets parfois, des snapshots qui permettent de voir, de mettre un peu en œuvre et de mettre en pratique. Ou alors ça peut aussi être des débuts d'idées pour des projets qui vont continuer de vivre, de grossir. Et c'est ça qui est plutôt cool. J'essaye d'être court parce qu'on passe la main aux autres campus. Donc que vous soyez sur YouTube ou ailleurs, vous pouvez revenir soit sur la chaîne YouTube de Wolverton pour aller sur les lives des autres campus, soit sur notre site internet pour basculer sur les liens des autres lives. Je passe la main à mes amis ailleurs en France.